Hey there, my friend. It's Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, and I want to welcome you back to another awesome episode here on the Fit Father and Fit Mother Project podcast. Have you ever seen those salt lamps, those pink Himalayan salt lamps that looks like a big brick of salt and sometimes it lights up? Or have you ever seen a spa that advertises that they have these salt rooms that you can go into and you get health benefits from breathing in this air that has this dry salt? Well, I was very curious about this, so we decided to bring on the world's leading expert in this. His name is Leo Tonkin, and since 2012, he's been on a mission to bring salt therapy, also known as halotherapy, to the world. And he's done this in over 3,000 facilities, including spas, wellness centers, in the homes of many celebrities. And he has a lot of great solutions and a lot of great information on why actually breathing in salt in these salt rooms is a really powerful way to improve our respiratory health, to improve our immune system, to improve exercise performance by having greater oxygenation. And I was just super interested in this, so I brought Leo on, and he had a really amazing conversation today. And I think you're going to be very inspired by this to consider incorporating this into your routine, especially if you have a family that has any history of respiratory issues, or if you're just someone that's already very healthy and you're looking to optimize and take things to the next level with a new biohack. Halotherapy might be something you want to look into. I know it's something that I'm going to be doing here in 2024. And Leo has a great website as well. If you're inspired as you go through this, he's got a promo and a discount code for all of us in our Fit Father and Fit Mother communities. His website is salttherapyhome.com, SALT therapyhome.com. And there's going to be links in the show notes as well. And the discount code for our community is Fit Family, all one word, Fit Family. So if you go through this and you want to actually buy one of his halogenerators for your home, you can go ahead and do that and get a nice discount on that as well. So that is wonderful news. But either way, whether or not you choose to incorporate this, I think you're going to find it very interesting to learn, again, why there's so many benefits of things like salt and we can breathe it in. I have a great understanding of why I feel good when I get by the ocean and get some of that salt air and stuff like this. Although Leo makes a really interesting point that it's the dry salt that is actually better for us in these health effects than actually even the salt from the moist ocean air. So I think you're going to find this very fascinating. Let's get into today's conversation with halotherapy expert Leo Tonkin. All right, Leo, welcome to the Fit Father and Fit Mother Project podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today.
It's great to be here. Looking forward to it.
Me too. And this is going to be an interesting conversation because I think a lot of people have heard of salt therapy and they know this idea of salt rooms, and maybe they've seen someone who has a salt lamp. And what my intention is in this conversation today is to kind of like demystify why people do that, what some of the benefits are, and of course, like based on these benefits and some of the research, like what we can do to apply this into our own lives. So can you get us into like, what is salt therapy? Like, why are people using these kind of salt chambers, salt rooms for health? Like what actually happens? Why does it work?
Yeah, great question. Well, I don't think salt is a stranger to people in understanding certain things. I remember as a kid gargling with salt water. Yeah. We put saline solutions in our eyes, in our veins, neti pots and such. People know what it's like to be by the ocean and being, by the salt air. Mm-hmm. So it's not a far stretch to understand what halotherapy, which is like dry salt therapy, is all about. It evolved from the salt mines over in Eastern Europe, where the miners were chiseling and breathing in this dry salt dust. They started to realize, and this is back in the 1800s, that people were healthier. They had their version of the flu and the plague and things going on, yet people that worked in the salt mines stayed healthy. So the doctors of the time were researching it, and sure enough, they were bringing patients down in these hollowed out areas to actually stay for days in that environment. Well, fast forward to today, technology is developed where you have a piece of equipment that takes pure grade sodium chloride. Mm-hmm. It's not your table salt. It's not Himalayan salt. It's not Dead Sea salt. It's what they make saline solutions on. It comes from the earth, but it's processed so it's pure salt, no other mineral, because it crushes it into a very fine dry mist. Mm-hmm. And when you breathe that in, it has three qualities for people to understand. One, it's super absorbent. So when you put dry salt on a piece of eggplant, right, it pulls out the moisture right? Well, when you breathe this in, it's pulling out the mucus and the pathogens, the dander, the dust. We breathe 20,000 breaths a day, and the air quality indoors and outdoors is what gets trapped. So one, it's super absorbent and pulls it out. Two, salt is antimicrobial, nothing grows on it. That's why back in the day it was used as a preservative, right? Salt kills everything. Nothing can grow on salt. So any type of virus, flu, whatever, it keeps it in check. I think one of the most important pieces is that it's anti-inflammatory. So when you breathe in dry salt, it's as if it's a natural steroid. So people that have asthma, allergies, children that are pre-asthmatic, you look at colds and flus, when you start to look at the amount of respiratory disease that we have, now you got RSV out there, you had COVID, SARS, MERS, allergies, COPD, cyanitis, the list goes on, lung cancer. So what naturally do we do to clean out our lungs, our respiratory? You have toothbrush for our teeth, we wash our hair, we do other things. There's really nothing to really take care of our respiratory system, which, being in biohacking and longevity, and you think about things, our respiratory system is the thing that really determines our longevity and quality of life. If you're not breathing well, it's a struggle. So as somebody who has 4 grandkids, I want to be able to lift them up and play and do things and not worry about my breath. Athletes love doing this. So those that are working out, recovery, lung volume and function, a lot of work. I know you're out in Arizona and Colorado, people that are really into biking and skiing and running and all kinds of things. What about if you had better lung function? We know that if you get more oxygen to red blood cells, cardiovascular health is better. So this is something that can be done on a daily basis. There's ways to do it at home. There's a pop-up salt booth that we have to market that we came up with last year. But there's a lot of just interesting things that can be done. And it's really safe. Safe for children, 6 months old. Like I said, my grandkids, they often go to school and it's the germ warfare basically. And, what do? They come to the showroom, they get salted, and it's amazing what it does for people.
That's awesome. I'm excited about that. And I am definitely the kind of guy that has all of my health protocols rooted in natural sources. And I don't think there's many things more fundamental than salt and sodium chloride on this planet for health. So it's not surprising that it helps us when it gets into our system in this deep way. So what does it look like to do salt therapy? Like, especially if someone's interested in doing this at home. I know I've seen like salt rooms advertised in some places and salt spas, but like, what does it look like for someone to do it at home? What's the protocol like? How long are you breathing salt in? Just what a device is used? Please demystify that for us.
Sure. So basically, you can take any enclosed space and make it into a salt room. So to your point, spas, resorts, destination, day spas, med spas, many of them at fitness centers are putting in a room where you sit in, and depending on the size of the room, a salt session may be anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes. There's also salt booths. Think of a phone booth. Well, I don't know if some of your listeners know what a phone booth
They
is.
do.
Not to age myself, but you get the concept of sitting in a small space, almost like a small sauna, if you will. And basically a session is only 10 minutes because the volume of air that you're filling is not as much as a room. So you have fitness centers that have it. It's a plug and play. It has that halogenerator, the Salt FX halogenerator, made in a medical device facility. It takes pure grade sodium chloride and makes sub-micron particle sizes. So just to give you an idea, a micron, your hair, if you measured the diameter, is about 70 microns.
Okay.
Well, less than 1 micron is very small.
Yeah.
So it gets deep. It also is great for the skin. So it penetrates the epidermis. So people that have eczema and psoriasis and have inflammation breakouts, exposing your skin to the salt, the dry salt, tremendous. It heals and recovers, reduces the inflammation. So at home, about a year ago, we really wanted to bring this to more people and make it accessible. And we developed a small halogenerator with a pop-up salt tent, if you will. It's a salt booth. And you can do that for 10 minutes, and that's it. You can have your kids be in it. I travel with it. When I go to hotels, I go into the shower stall. I don't need to be completely enclosed at the top of it. And I just sit there for 10 minutes and get salted. And so it's very easy to do. It's just basically putting salt in a feeder and hitting a button, and bingo, you're getting salted. So you can do it in any kind of environment. So some people, I mean, you can go luxury route. We did Tony Robbins' house. You know, he's got this beautiful salt room, and NFL players and NBA players and residential. Some people create their own wellness space in their basement or another room or the garage. You have to be careful not to do it in humidity, because humidity and dry salt don't go well together. It's really important that the salt stays dry. That's where all the efficacy is.
Okay, so I think that's a key point to kind of touch on. So it's because the salt is dry that it's having this absorbing kind of like neutralizing effect in the lungs. And if moisture is in there, it changes the dynamic of how the salt's interacting with the body.
Absolutely. Okay. And not that it's bad. You know, being by the ocean is good. Nebulizer treatments, right? Yeah. Hypertonic saline solutions. Yes. So it's been utilized in medical treatment for decades. But dry, to your point, is a different phenomenon in how the efficacy works within the system. And that's what makes a dry salt room a halotherapy, room. That's really what it comes from. Halo is the Greek word for salt.
Okay. And question two, what is just out of my curiosity, I have the idea of what the pop-up tent with the halogenerator looks like. And am I just putting like the very purest grade? Is it a salt that's powdered in there? Is it like something I'm pouring into a container? Like, what does it look like? Or is it all enclosed?
Yeah, I don't have it with me. I know it's a podcast, but we can have people look at it and give them, if they went to salttherapyhome.com, you'd be able to see the product. It's about 9 inches tall, and it's a stainless steel cylinder. And basically, it comes with packets of salt already pre-measured. So it's like a sugar packet. Yep. And basically, you take that and empty it into the canister. It's got a remote control. You hit it, and bingo, you're off. There's 4 preset programs. Children usually take less concentration. People react differently. It's normal that in a salt session you might sneeze or cough up some phlegm. Otherwise it dissolves and you pass it through your urine. People ears pop open, they breathe better, they sleep better. A lot of people don't realize that we've turned more into mouth breathers than nose breathers. And that's a big cause of a lot of sleep apnea and dental and other work that needs to be done. But for example, like Tony Robbins, he does it because he gets inflammation up here, which is part of where my voice is right now. But when you can open up because of the inflammation, and this is anti-inflammatory, it relaxes all throughout the larynx and the vocal cords and all. So you breathe better when you sleep. So there's a lot of research. I mean, there's the Salt Therapy Association is a trade association for the industry. They have hundreds of research papers, peer-reviewed, placebo, double-blind, a lot of evidence that it works for those that want to research it. But to your point earlier, a lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people go to these spas and they see a sauna with a pink Himalayan wall, or they have the lamps around and people bought them and put them on their nightstand. And there used to be these claims that it absorbs the air around it and gives off negative ions. Well, that is not true. There was actually a class action lawsuit against a company that was making claims, and the physics, chemists, and biologists disproved that it's impossible to really happen. But it was a marketing. But they're beautiful, and we create beautiful rooms utilizing it. I'm not saying not to have it. It's just when you create a really great ambiance and you have these amazing chairs, and you're off your phone, and you can do other things in a salt room, right? You can do yoga. There is sound baths, Tibetan bowl and crystal. There's guided meditation, breath work. We don't realize intentional breathing and purposeful breathing that we can be doing. And what it does for the mind, body, and breath is pretty phenomenal. So it's really great.
Hey, it's Dr. Ray. I want to quickly pause this episode to thank you for listening to this Fit Father podcast. I am just blown away at how amazing this podcast has become. I had no idea when I started FFP around 10 years ago that it would grow into such an impactful mission. And I want to let you know that I am so grateful to be connected to you in this lifetime. And on behalf of me and my entire team, we are so grateful to be in your life, helping you get and stay healthier for your family. That's what I want to share. Just some gratitude from my heart to yours. Let's get back to today's episode. People who have salt lamps, the whole idea of it kicking off like negative ions, has been disproven. That's not the mechanism. And does a little chunk of some pink Himalayan sea salt that someone could put a candle in or that lights up or has some kind of electricity, does that do anything? It's not even really considered a halogenerator, that's what I'm kind of gathering here, correct?
Yeah, it does. It's pretty to look at.
Okay.
Yeah, let me, for those of listeners that really want to dive into that, every natural element vibrates, has certain frequencies.
For sure.
Right? Jade, amethyst, quartz. So if you have a room full of Himalayan salt, it does alter the room in that regard. But in terms of negative ions or cleaning the air or anything, no. Now, what's also true is nothing can grow on salt. And salt as a surface is the cleanest environment. Back when COVID and the pandemic broke out, a lot of facilities wanted to know, do we have to do anything? Do we have to sterilize it? And so it's been proven that SARS, MERS, at any surface level, when it comes in contact with salt, it absorbs the liquid RNA around the cell, and it recrystallizes and kills it. So nothing can grow. So even though you might cough in a salt room or do anything, because salt's in the air and salt's all around you, it's probably one of the cleanest rooms you've ever been in.
That's awesome. Good insight. Now I'm thinking about the idea of a Tony Robbins salt room that has the huge wall of just Himalayan salt on it. I don't know if that's the case, but what does a really luxury salt room look like? And how much of it is efficacy versus pretty? And just what's the whole scenario look like when designing one of those things?
Yeah, well, you do, a lot of the spas and resorts and places, it is really a cool looking room.
Yeah.
It's an amber glow when you backlight these pink Himalayan salt bricks. So it does create this space, right? Tony's is his whole, you can imagine, all his walls are covered in the brick walls and beautiful chairs in there. And you just sit there and you can do other things. But that's just part of the experience, if you will. But in terms of efficacy, if you don't have a halogenerator, you don't have halotherapy.
Cool.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Okay, so where do you see this industry going? You've been in the game for a long time and as one of the pioneers of doing this. Where does it go next over the next 10 years?
Yeah, great question. Well, as a business, it's going to continue to grow. You don't have salt facilities at every corner like you do yoga, fitness, chiropractors. The awareness level is not there yet. So it's going to continue to grow. From a consumer perspective, I think people are taking more responsibility for their own health care. Self-care is vital. Getting the right information to people so they can make the right choices for how to be the CEO of their own health is important. I don't think people realize how bad our respiratory situation is in our country. If you turn on the evening news and see the major networks, right, the NBCs, and you look at what is being advertised on the most expensive TV commercial, it's asthma, COPD, allergies, eczema, psoriasis. They're spending big money, $50 billion a year just in asthma inhalers. So our healthcare system is designed to diagnose and prescribe a drug and keep you on that drug. Salt therapy is not yet in the medical world because, as you probably know, going through FDA approval and doing this and that is a long road ahead. Being natural, it really doesn't need to be.
Right.
But we have a lot of pulmonologists, respiratory therapists, ENTs utilizing salt therapy, recommend it. There are some that probably might be coding it as a breathing treatment for insurance. I see that possibly growing more, people using their FSA money for salt sessions or their health savings account. But I do think from an awareness level, we've been seeing it over the last couple of years. You look at the fires that happen worldwide. You look at the quality of the air. You're looking at the amount of brake dust and rubber that is in the air. You look at the methane. There was just an article last week or 2 weeks ago in the New York Post how humans breathing contribute to some of the air pollution because we dispel carbon dioxide. We have methane that comes out of our system. So I think that there needs to be more awareness. I think we're not getting to the source of the problem. The source of the problem, while salt therapy, halotherapy is great as a treatment, both preventative and treatment-wise. It's great proactive, making it a ritual. But what are we doing around our household? What are the chemicals that we're using and spraying on our cabinets, on our counters, on our floors? What the kind of detergent? The smells that are around us that get into our respiratory, we're not paying attention to. Our HVAC filters. I live in Florida. We're supposed to change our filters every month. Who is really doing that? Right. When was the last time you changed the air filter on your car?
Yeah, it's a long time.
You haven't. You don't do things until the red light goes on.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate with our health. People don't pay attention to respiratory until they can't breathe well, or they get a cold or a flu or something.
It's true.
But we have people that have kids with cystic fibrosis be doing salt therapy and staying out of the hospital. We have elderly seniors aging with COPD that don't need their oxygen tank as much. You have people that are sleeping better. You have people breathing better. So I think it's more of an awareness, leveling it up. At one point there were 30,000 facilities doing suntan bedding, and that wasn't really that great for you. So part of it is doing things like this, Doc, where we can get more education and awareness out there. I think there's going to be more acceptance into the medical community because they're seeing their patients come in and they're looking at their results and they're like, wow, look at your oxygen saturation. Look at your air volume is up. What are you doing? So the numbers are there. But I do think we need to really focus on the source, which is the quality of the air indoor and outdoor. There's a lot that we can be doing with air filters, air purifiers in our home, the things that are causing the respiratory disease. And I think as a society, we have to really pay attention to the things outdoors and what's really contributing. The World Health Organization states that 90% of the world's population lives in poor air quality.
Wow.
When you bring that close to home, we're not that far off. I remember living in Colorado in the 80s and remembering the brown cloud that would hang over downtown Colorado at times. But because it's invisible and we don't see it, we don't really notice it. So we have to make the invisible more visible. And we have to realize we are what we breathe. And so we got to take that to heart.
Love it. That's a very strong message. So for you personally, do you run some air filters in your house in addition to, what's your protocol for keeping your house air as good as it can be?
Yeah. I've experimented with a lot of things. I use a molecule, is a product that's out there. There's an interesting product that for when I clean, it is a hydrochloric acid, which is interesting. It's salt and vinegar that have been electrolyzed, and it's 99.99% a disinfectant for cleaning. So we don't use products like Lysol or this or that. We're really conscious about the chemicals we use in our home and in our office. We use higher rated MERV rated air filters. So air filters are measured by the density of the filter and how much air can pass through. The higher the rating, the more it's going to trap the finer particles. So there are things of that nature to be looking at in terms of products. Simple as one's called Force of Nature. It's that hydrochloric acid stuff that's very cheap that you put into a spray bottle. I have a little one right here, here, and it's just simple. But we don't know about these things. I debate about my car and if I'm going to get an electric car or not, so you have different things you take a look at. I know at Salt Chamber, our company, for every salt room or salt booth, we plant 100 trees around the world.
Nice.
So we like to give back and try to reforestation and try to get the healthy planet to have better air, You think of your HVAC system in your home or office as the lungs of your space. Well, the lungs of our planet are hurting, and we need to start paying attention to that.
Nice. Now, what's the cost of someone getting started with halotherapy in their house? Like, if someone's inspired by this and they actually feel like, man, we got family history of some breathing problems, this totally resonates with me. Like, how affordable is it to get going? Because I'm sure you could spend lots of money, but like, what's the low end accessibility to get something that actually works and is quality?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. We've been trying to get it down as low as we can to make it more accessible. I mean, the larger pieces of equipment for commercial are somewhere around $5,000 to $8,000. For the home, maintaining the same integrity of the medical grade quality of everything is just under $2,000.
Okay.
And there's payment plans that people can do. And if, those that are listening, we're going to give them a special discount for paying attention to the show with you. But that's what you're looking at. But once you pay for that and you look at the salt's costing pennies. So you get 100 packets with it. You get a pop-up tent with that. And the most important piece, that halogenerator. And so that's what you're doing. So yeah, there's a cost, but I like to look at the return on the investment. How much do you spend on over-the-counter, Claritin or drugs, or when you have a cold, or every time you go to a doctor visit, with your kid, or what you might have, or are they pre-asthmatic? I speak to so many moms that worry so much about their children, especially when they come home from school sick, germs that are spread. I have a couple of moms, they do their homework with the kids inside the salt booth, at home.
Yeah.
So, you got to balance that out, but it's not, some people think, well, why don't I just go to the ocean and breathe? I said, yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same salt. That's moist salt. And think about it. That's salt that's evaporating. That's from dirty water, the ocean water is not so clean. So you want to look to see where you get the advantage. I mean, we have a money-back guarantee, and I'll be very proud of our team for 2023 was really the first full year we launched that product. We started it in middle of 22, but we had maybe 2 products returned of people, out of a large amount. So it works. If you try it, they don't like it, return it. But I'll tell you, it works.
And the most affordable way, and we will have unique codes for our Fit Father and Fit Mother communities all over this description on the article for all that. The best thing would be for someone to get, is it the salt booth or the pop-up salt booth if they want to be like the most cost effective?
Yeah, the pop-up kit, the salt, at salttherapyhome.com, they'll see the halogenerator and the pop-up. Now, some people might have a sauna at home.
Yeah.
Well, we have a sauna conversion kit where you don't need the pop-up. You could easily take the halogenerator, comes with a special mount, and you can put it right in your sauna.
Yeah, that's nice.
Some people have taken a closet space and they didn't use the pop-up booth. I mean, the pop-up booth is not too expensive, comes with it as a bundle, but you can convert a closet into your own, wellness sanctuary, if you will.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm excited for this. And this is, something that's piqued my curiosity, having been so interested in health for this long. This is an area where I haven't explored too much. So I'm inspired to do so. And I will definitely be using some of your products on that, Leo. So thank you for the inspiration today. And again, we'll have some links for some special deals for our community inside the show notes and everything associated with this article and this podcast. And Leo, I want to say, any final thoughts in closing that you want to give to our audience today?
Yeah, just, I think it's important not only that we keep our respiratory system healthy, it's a good time during the day to take time to just stop and breathe. Take a breath, be mindful, be responsible for our own health, investigate, inquire, discover, and then do what works for you to stay fit.
Nice. I love it. I think I love that there's the salt angle, but it's really just about this breath and this clean air angle that we need to hear about right now. So Leo, thank you for being a champion for this work and for coming on today on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.